And it's really amazing because now we look at these things and we realize we know we have authority over them. But yet most Christians don't want to fight. They just it's, they want to stay neutral. There is no neutral in the spirit realm. There's no such thing as neutral. You're either for or against Christ, which means you're either with or against the devil. Now, notice this. It's because I started realizing this. And you have to remember, back in the day, back in Bible days of the book of Acts, in the early days of the book of Acts, because we're in the latter days of the book of Acts. If you look at the early days, you got these two guys, two men, normal men, we know them as normal, that show up, Barnabas and Paul. They come into a town, and all of a sudden everybody thinks they're gods. It must have been really simple back in those days to be mistaken for a god, because they think they're gods. But now notice this. They thought they were gods. Why? Because they were stronger than those people's gods. So if they could beat their gods, then obviously they had to be gods themselves. And that's how the people thought. And people say, well, that's so silly and stupid. No, it's actually not. Now, the funny thing is, you got Barnabas and Paul, and as I wrote down, men that trampled underfoot the gods that people worshipped and feared. Paul dismissed demons like you would a dog. How do you dismiss a dog? Well, same way that Wigglesworth talked about dismissing demons. The woman was at the train, had a little dog with her, and she was waiting on the train to show up, and Wigglesworth was watching her, and she's like, now go home, puppy, run home. And the dog was just dancing around her. She kept saying, no, you gotta go home. You gotta go home. And the dog didn't pay any attention to it. And then the train started pulling up, and she knew she was just gonna get on the train, and so she turned to the dog, and when she turned to the dog, she said, I said, get! And the dog tucked tail and took off. And Wigglesworth yelled and said, that's how you have to do the devil. If you just talk to the devil normal and nice, he ain't going to listen. Devils they'll hear you, but they're not going to obey you. Why? Because there's nothing in you that says they have to. In other words, nothing the way you're portrayed. Now, they know what's in you. And they know you have authority over them. They know that you have enough power to beat any one of them at any time. But they know you don't know that. So they will continue to run over you, just like a crooked lawyer would do.